Just 3 months after the novel coronavirus was discovered in Wuhan, China, the disease had already overrun the world. As different countries coped with the pandemic differently, we will look into the response of the three countries of the South Caucasus. Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia were heading into April, all doing relatively well. In May, however, things changed. Cases in Armenia skyrocketed, and while cases in Azerbaijan grew to a lesser extent, Georgia managed to keep its infection rates low. Armenia. The country's first coronavirus case was confirmed on March 1 when an Armenian citizen who returned to Armenia from Iran tested positive. Flights from Italy were suspended on March 11. Around this time, Armenia's first cluster emerged in Varashabad, that is the city of Echmiadzin. The city was put under strict lockdown. On March 16, a nationwide state of emergency was declared for a month. Armenian citizens who were allowed to return from different countries and their contacts were quarantined by the state in hotels. Certain restrictions were loosened starting May 4. However, the state of emergency would still be extended until September 12, with periodic lockdowns in certain regions. By May 19, there were so many active cases that those with mild symptoms were asked to remain at home for treatment, as the hospital capacity of 3,400 beds had already been reached. By August, the government of Armenia had implemented 24 social and economic assistance packages to help mitigate the financial strain of the pandemic on its citizens and its businesses. Azerbaijan is a more difficult country to analyze in terms of its COVID-19 response, as verified information from independent sources is difficult to obtain. Still, based on the numbers reported, it would seem that Azerbaijan is in the middle in the region in terms of its pandemic response success. Like Armenia, Azerbaijan was in a tricky position by bordering Iran, one of the early hotspots of the outbreak. Azerbaijan's first case emerged on February 28, a Russian citizen who traveled from Iran to Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan was one of the last countries to close its borders with Iran, which it did on February 29. The country instated a lockdown on March 14 for an initial period of 14 days, which was extended to June 15. On April 27, Azerbaijan began relaxing lockdown measures and has been able to provide hospitalization for everyone testing positive for COVID-19. The government so far announced $1.5 billion in social assistance packages to citizens, as well as $590 million in tax breaks. Georgia's response was characterized by extremely strict and timely. As a result, Georgia has done the best of all the three countries in the region. Georgia restricted flights to Iran on February 23, but the first coronavirus case in Georgia was still confirmed on February 26, a Georgian citizen who had traveled to Iran for business. Over the next weeks, arrivals from hotspots around the world and the people they had interacted with were quarantined in state-run institutions and at home. On March 21, Georgia declared a one-month state of emergency, extending it later till May. On May 4, Georgia began lifting limited restrictions, lifting the state of emergency on May 22. However, periodically, certain areas have since been under lockdown. Georgia and Armenia have opened borders to tourists despite pending fears of a second wave of COVID-19, as ultimately, at this point, until a vaccine is ready, it is a delicate balancing act between risking to destroy economies and overwhelming hospitals with COVID patients.